A quick walkthrough in Igcse Environmental Management Paper 1 Theory for May June 2020. This paper is for 1 hour 45 minutes. So let's see how to approach each of these questions in order to achieve the best possible mark. Okay, first, section A, question number 1 said a magazine contains a report about the change in sea level around the Solomon Island. Now, 5 islands in the Pacific Ocean vanish as sea level rises. Sea level in the Pacific Ocean around the Solomon Island has been rising by 7 millimeters per year over the last 20 years. Now, 5 islands that were present in 1947 had completely disappeared by 2014. Now, other islands had reduced in size by 20% and 62% during the same period. Houses are being washed into the sea. On the island of Nuatumbu, only 12 of the 23 houses remain. Now, the rise in sea level is predicted to continue, and a scientist has linked this rise in sea level to carbon dioxide emission. Now, the scientist said there is a real risk that the entire nation could face extinction. So, based on this text, the first question is a 3-mark question, yeah, and explain how change in carbon dioxide emission is linked to sea level rise. Now, first, carbon dioxide, CO2, is a greenhouse gas. It's a greenhouse gas, and what you do, greenhouse gas, which causes greenhouse effect, which causes the greenhouse effect, thereby leading to increase in global temperature. So, causes increase in global temperature, leading to global warming, which eventually cause the melting of ice caps, or glaciers. And remember, glaciers are store of water. So now the water will now flow into the ocean, leading to sea level rise. Flow into oceans, leading to sea level rise. Then the next question is calculate the percentage of houses on the island of Nuatumbu that have been lost due to rise in sea level. So, if we go back to the text we read, they said 12 out of 23 houses remain. So 12 out of 23 houses remain. So for you to calculate the percentage of houses lost, is how many houses was lost in the first place. 12 of 23 remain. That means the amount that was lost will be 23 minus 12, which will be equal to 11. So what will be the percentage? It will be 11 divided by 23 times 100. Here's my calculator. Quick. 11 divided by 23 times 100. This is around 48%. That's 47.8 if you round it up to give you 48%. Now, they say loss of houses is one problem caused by sea level rise. Suggest other impacts the sea level will have on people living in the Solomon Island. Usually, sea level will lead to rise, will lead to flooding, Another impact will be loss. So use multiplier effect. What are the impact of flooding? If you use that as a multiplier effect, it will give you the other marks. It's simple. So flooding can lead to loss of industries because they can be washed along. Flooding can lead to destruction of vegetation. Destruction of vegetation can lead to loss of food, or less food will be available. You can have things like salinization, because salt water will now flow and mix with fresh water. So you have salinization of water within that environment. So another impact that you have is movement of people away from Solomon Island. So movement of people, that people will now migrate from the area. I'll give you a full mark. Question number 2. Fast, please. Now, the city of Los Angeles is on the west coast of the USA. The city of Los Angeles is on the west coast of the USA. Now, they say the city frequently experiences smog. Now, the diagram shows some of the causes of smog. Now, the first question is, use the diagram to describe the causes of smog in Los Angeles. So this is quite straightforward because smog is caused by a process where volatile organic compound from industry causes air pollution and lead to temperature inversion. So first, you have substances from industries, so going into the atmosphere. So that's where you should start from. So substance or organic substance, usually organic substances, so this is used, substances from industries is released into the atmosphere. Released into the atmosphere, thereby causing what? Air pollution. Now, it causes air pollution. So this organic substance trap air particles, thereby causing temperature inversion within this particular layer. So the organic substance trap air particles, trap air or dust particles which will lead to temperature inversion. Temperature inversion layer will now be formed. Now, temperature inversion layer will be formed. This explanation should give you a 3 mark, but you see, this inversion layer will act as a barrier So the inversion layer formed will act as a barrier to prevent air movement within that location. So the inversion, the inversion caused the inversion caused by air pollution, the inversion caused by air pollution will what? Act as a barrier to prevent air movement. Now, the next question is, describe the impact of smog on human health. Now, smog usually is as a result of air pollution. So, one of the major impacts of this smog can lead to eye irritation. Another impact of smog can be it causes asthma. Another impact is asthma. You can apply multiply effect here, so you can have breathing difficulties. Another impact, it can causes heart problem, and heart problem can lead to which can lead to stroke. I think basically that's the major health impact of smog. Now the next question is, vehicle emission are a major cause of smog. Describe ways in which the government can reduce uh, emission from vehicles. Now, you can encourage the use of solar and electrical cars. So, encourage the use of solar and electrical cars. Another factor can be legislations. I say legislation on the amount of cars people can use to control emission. Then increase the use of public transport, or make public transport more efficient. You can also look at car sharing policies too, or that's under legislation. So the next question, number 3, is the map shows the location of the Suez Canal in Egypt. So here we have a map, and this is the Mediterranean Sea. So this is the Suez Canal in Egypt. So what's the question now? We're told that the Suez Canal was opened in 1869 and linked the Mediterranean Sea to the Red Sea. The canal runs from Port Said to Suez. So from Said to Suez, using the canal saved ship approximately 7,000 kilometers compared to the previous route. Now the government has planned to increase the width and depth of the canal so it can take larger ships. Scientists are concerned that this will increase the risk of marine species from the Red Sea moving to the Mediterranean Sea. So, what question is attached to this text? Now, they said use the map to estimate the approximate length of the Suez Canal from Port Said to Suez. You should circle the correct answer. Here is quite simple, because if you look at the map, you already have uh, a scale. You already have a scale here given to you, a linear scale. This is a linear scale. So all you need to do is, this is Port Said down to the Suez. So all you need to do is to measure the distance along this route. So you need to just get a string or a thread, then you trace this route. Then once you are done, you come to the scale and see how long that thread is when you measure it along this scale. So for every 25 you add it together to now get your total length. It's as simple as that. So if you do that correctly, I believe you should have an answer within the range of 175 kilometers. So I think this is the correct answer. Now, suggest reasons why scientists are concerned about marine species from the Red Sea moving to the Mediterranean Sea. Now, if a new species come into an environment, the first thing it does is it disrupts the food chain or web. Now, another thing is this new species coming in may introduce new disease. Another major reason for concern will be um, it can be invasive. So the species can be an invasive species, and if it's an invasive species, it can also lead to extinction of native species. Prey on them, lead to extinction of native species, and you can always look at the multiplier effect when it comes to food chain. If it disrupts the food chain, that means another thing. The reason why it can affect the food chain is because it lead to competition. So there'll be a lot of competition among the species, thereby um, disrupting the food chain and the rest. So if you write those, you just need to know how to link these things together to get your full mark. Now, in recent years, the water in the middle of the Suez Canal has been more saline. That means it has more salt content in it. That is what saline means. So suggest one reason why you think the water in the Suez Canal has increased in salinity. This is simple. So usually, remember, it can be that water from the Red Sea has now flown into the Mediterranean. So there can also be as a result of increase in traffic and along the Suez Canal. So it can also be salt. So it can be increase in fertilizer runoff, fertilizers runoff from land, runoff from land. It can be that water from the Red Sea, Red Sea flow into the Suez Canal. Simple. Now the next question is question number 5. Okay, sorry, number 4, and that's section B. Now they say the map shows an area of the world where cases of malaria occur. An area of the world where cases of malaria occur. So once you're given a map like this, the first thing you should take note of is the key. The key is the guide to interpreting the map. So these are areas with malaria cases in 2016. Now malaria cases in 2000 but not in 2016. We have them here. Then we have areas with no malaria cases. So the first question is, use the map to describe the change in distribution of malaria cases from 2000 to 2016. 2000 to 2016, the change. So you find out that the area, let's go back to the map, in from 2000 to 2016. So malaria cases from 2000 to 2016, you find out that there is a reduced area first in 2016 because these are the areas that experience it from 2000 to 2016. But this other part experienced only in 2000 but not in 2016. So obviously there is a reduced cases in 2016. And if there is a reduced cases in 2016, we're looking at distribution now. So you find out that there is more reduction within this southern hemisphere of South America. You can specify. So there is reduction in the southern hemisphere of South America and also there is a reduction in the northern hemisphere of Africa. You can put northern Africa, whichever. Now that's the answer to that question. So that answer this 3-mark question. Now state 3 method used to control malaria. This is simple. First, use of anti-malaria drugs. Use anti-malaria drugs. Now another way is mosquito net. Another way which we use to control malaria is use removal of stagnant water, because that is where they breed from. Removal of stagnant water. Another way is you control the vector using pesticides. I think we can also have using mosquito spray, pesticide, or oil spray on your body, so mosquito will not be able to feast on you. Now, next question is, a scientist said there were 445,000 deaths due to malaria in 2016. 80% of these deaths occur in 15 countries. Calculate how many deaths from malaria occur in these 15 countries in 2016. 80% of these deaths, of this total, occurs within 15 countries. So that will be 80 over 100 times 445,000. Let me do that. So the answer to that question will be 356,000. That's all. Now, suggest reasons why it is difficult to control malaria in some country. First is lack of money to. Usually, there is lack of money to buy anti-malaria drugs. Lack of money to buy anti-malaria drugs. So remember, there are economically developed and um, um, less economically developed countries. So that's the angle you should look at it from. MEDCs and LEDCs, less economically developed countries. So lack of money will be in less economically developed, and less economically developed country have poor health care. So people die more from malaria in such country. And another thing is you can have um, areas within the country with stagnant water. Areas with stagnant water within the country will also cause it. Then we can also have lack of awareness among the population. So poor education, lack of awareness. So the people are not, so you can, poor education. So the people are not educated on the impact or causes of malaria. So they don't even use the measures that are meant to control malaria. Another factor can be um, the remoteness of the population. So if most of the population live within the rural regions, you expect that they won't be aware, they will not be educated, their healthcare system is poor, so the impact from malaria will also be very high. Now, the next question here is, coal is an important fuel used for heat and electricity generation. Yeah, we know that. Now, the photograph shows a mine where coal is being extracted. First, you should know that this is an open cast mine. So it's a what is going on is surface mining. So the question now is, identify the type of mining shown in the diagram. Open cast. It's an open cast mine. Now the next question is, describe how coal is extracted from the mine. So they are asking you to describe how surface mining. First, you remove the vegetation that covers the area. Then you can now um, use explosive to break the rocks. Once you've done that, you can use trucks, or you can put machineries to carry the uh, coal to industries for processing. That's all. The next question is, okay, sorry, I don't think I can pronounce this word. Mine in China is one of the largest coal mine in the world. Now, area covered is this, development cost is this, 1.1 billion. First coal production was in 2008. Annual output is 20 million tons. Estimated total reserve is 1.5 billion tons. Now, calculate the year when all the coal will have been extracted if there is no change in the annual output. If there is no change in the annual output, we should calculate the year in which all the coal must have been extracted. So, coming back here, they said estimate total reserve in 2008 was this. This is the annual output every year. So that means every year, every year they remove 20 million tons, and the reserve is 1.5 billion. So for you to know the year in which it will be exhausted, you have to divide 1.5 billion divide by 20 million. And once you do that, it will give you 75. That means if for a single year it's 20 billion, so it will give you 75. So you need 75 years for it to be exhausted. And since this was done in 2008, for you to now know the year in which it will be exhausted, it will be 2008 plus 75. This will give you 13. So 3, 1, this is 8, this is 2, 0, 8. So the coal will be exhausted at 2083. That's all to mark. Describe three uses for the mine after coal extraction has been done. That means how you reclaim a mining site. This is simple. You can use it as a landfill site. It can also be developed into a park. It can be used as a game reserve. You can also change it to a lake. You can convert it to a lake, and if it's converted to a lake, it can be used for fishing. You can also use it for for golf course. You can convert it to a golf course. You can convert it to build stadiums. These are just few points. Okay. Next is environmentalists are concerned about the use of coal. Some countries continue to use coal in large quantities. Suggest reasons why these countries are not changing to other fuel source. Now, you cannot change to what you don't have. That's the first thing you need to know. So, obviously, you will not change because there is lack of other resources. They will not change also because coal is abundant. And also, they will not change also because the technology for coal extraction it's available. The technology for coal extraction is available. So, and another thing is some countries do not make pollution a priority. Do not make pollution a priority. So that's all. Now, coal is a non-renewable energy resource. Name one other non-renewable energy resource. Non-renewable. Okay. Remember, just it's simple. Coal, oil, natural gas. So, you can have oil, natural gas, which are all fossil fuels. So, anyone, get your full mark. Okay. Next question now. Okay, question page 13 is a blank page. Let's move to question number 16. So the table shows the top 5 exports from Kenya, a country in East Africa in 2015. Now export this value in million US dollars. Now the first question is for us to calculate the total here. So simple, just use your calculator. 1400 plus 717 plus 426 plus 282 plus 214 is equal to here you have 30 39 3039. Simple. Complete the table, so gotten 1 mark. Now draw a bar chart to show the top 5 exports from Kenya. Now I usually tell my students it's easy. When you have a table like this, first is your key. You'll be marked based on your scale, your axis label, and how accurate you are. So first, usually the first column is your X and this will be your Y axis. So my X will be export and my Y will be value per million USD. So I will just come down. This is my X axis, which will be export. Sorry, so I'll be able to see everything. This is export and value per USD. So here I have my value per million USD, sorry. Value per million USD. Million USD. Now, this alone is 1 mark. Then the next thing is your scale. Usually you look at the range of values. The lowest here is 214 and the highest here is 1,400. So coming to your scale, make sure your graph cover more than half your plot cover more than half of the space provided. So I can decide to make, since my highest value is 1,400, I can decide to make every 10 boxes 200, or if I make every 10 boxes 200, let's see, 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 10. That's 1. So I have another 5 5 2, another 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 10. I think this is 3. Let's see. I have another 1 2 3 4 5 9 10. I think this should be 10. This will be 4. So 200, 400, 600, 800. So I can have another one here, which will give me 800. I can get 1000. Another 10. Get 1002. Another 10. 1 4. So 200. This is 400. 600. 800. 1000. I have 1200 and 1400. Can bring out another 10. Yeah. Sorry, I don't think it's up to scale because I can't really see it clearly. So and it's just for you to understand how it needs to be done. 600. So you can make any adjustment you want to make it more precise. Okay, having done this, I think the next thing is draw. So the first thing I have here is 1400 for coffee, tea, and spice. So for the purpose of this revision, coffee, tea, and spice, I'll put it as CTS. But please, while writing the exam, you make sure you write it full. So I have 1400 in that case. So 1400. So I can decide to make it just 5 bars. Yeah, 1400 downwards. Ah, let me just use this. So coffee, tea, and spice, that's the first one, 1400. Now you can leave equal spaces in between. So the next one is 717 for plant and cut flour. So plant and cut flour, 717. So if I have this 600, half here 700. So 717 will be somewhere. So I can leave 5 spaces in between, not 3. So just, this is 700. 717 will be somewhere here. So I can sorry, I think just trying to for the next one. Then the next one is 7 to 4 to 6, 4 to 6 for fuel. This is plant and flour. PF for fuel is 4 to 6. So this is 400. It is 500. So 4 to 6 is somewhere here for fuel. So I can leave another 5 space. Here you write your fuel. So simple. This is all what you just need to do for everything to get your, once you're able to do that for the remaining one, you get your full 4 marks. So it's quite easy and straightforward. Now, they said some countries, is this some country or some plant? Okay, some plant. Some plants and cut flowers are grown intensively. Remember, there is intensive and extensive form of agriculture. Now, this requires large amounts of insecticide to control pests. Now, describe 2 possible effects of overuse of insecticide on the local environment. So, when you use a lot of insecticide, it has an impact on the food web. Insecticide kills insects, so it can also lead to lack of pollinators because insect helps in pollination. Another impact is this insecticide can actually cause water pollution if washed into rivers. So these are some of the impacts it will have on the environment. Now the next question is, two students are discussing the water availability in Kenya. Now big farms must have water to grow plants for export. This could affect the water available for local people. So big farms can grow water, must have water to grow plants for export. This could affect the water availability for local people. Now, it's possible for these farms and local people to both have all the water they need. It just takes a bit of planning. Now, suggest strategies for ensuring a reliable supply of water for all the people in Kenya. Now, strategies for ensuring reliable supply of water. So what they're asking you here is, what are the major forms in which water can be applied? Use example to justify, can be supplied. Use example to justify your answer. Now, we are looking at 2 major arguments between 2 students. The first one says big farm must have water to grow plants for export. This could affect the water availability for the local people. That's his own idea. Now, it is possible for these big farms and the local people to both have all the water they need. It just takes a bit of planning. So you see, these are 2 perspectives. So while you want to answer this question, you must try as much as you can to give views. So your views should should reflect both student ideas. So some of the answers is a 5-mark question. First, you can write things like the local people can use clean water also. So the local people can use clean water, then the big farms can use grey water. Since it's for agriculture, it's not for domestic use, can use green water. Now, you see how we are bringing the two perspective. So another thing is big farms can build reservoirs, to provide water, and to provide water through which method? So it can provide water through, it can be through rainwater harvesting, and which will now make water available for them to consume. So local people can, so the locals can build boreholes, they can also have local wells to provide water for their own consumption. Now, big farms can also use efficient methods of water management, such as you can have things like drip irrigation method. They can also use pot irrigation method and discourage flood method. So you can have agreement of quotas agreement on water use by both big farms and the locals. That'll give you a full mark. Now question number 7 is a food web. Now the diagram shows part of a food web in an ocean. So name a secondary consumer on this food web. So obviously, you know, calm down a little, please. Okay. Now on this food web, the phytoplankton here is the producer. This is the producer, and organisms that feed on the producer are primary consumer. So which is this feed on the producer. However, organisms that feed on primary consumer are secondary consumers. So this cod feed on both primary consumers and the producer. So it falls, it's also a secondary consumer because it feeds on primary. The squid is also a secondary consumer. The penguin is also a secondary consumer. So just name one. I can just write, even if you write the same code in this question, you'll still be correct because it feeds on both primary consumer and what is it called? Producer. So I can decide to write a code, COD, the penguin, the squid, even the leopard seal, because it feed on cod, and cod is also a primary consumer. That can also make the leopard seal a secondary consumer. So, what's the next question? They say use the food web to complete this food chain. There is krill here. So, which organism do krill feed on? So, first, krill feed on phytoplankton. So, phytoplankton is the producer, consumed by krill, from krill to penguin. So, which organism feed on penguin? Killer whale. So the last thing you write there is a killer whale. Now, if you have that, the next question is describe the impact on this food web if the cod population decrease. So if cod population decrease, that means this cod is no longer here. What will happen? The zooplankton will do what? Because it feed on zooplankton, so you expect that the zooplankton will increase because cod has decreased. So zooplankton will increase. What else? Phytoplankton will increase. Krill will increase. Now, if you take off the cod, then you expect that leopard seal will eat more of penguin, which can make penguin decrease, and or leopard seal will eat more of squid, which can also make squid decrease. So it's simple. It's just normal analysis. So zooplankton, phytoplankton, krill will all decrease. So I can write, increase in phytoplankton. There is also increase in zooplankton. There is also increase in krill. Now that means penguin. Sorry, is it penguin? Yeah, penguin will eat more. Or penguin. There's also increase in penguin. And leopard seal, good. Leopard seal will eat more of penguin because there is no more cod. Leopard seal eats more of penguin. That's it. So explain how energy is lost between trophic level in a food chain. Now here, just write the uses of this energy. Now energy is lost to the environment in the form of heat. Yeah, and in heat, this heat is generated through respiration. So energy is lost through respiration. Here, just remember the 7 characteristics of living things and just write any amount. Movement, what you use the energy for. Movement, excretion, cell division, you can, that's just use your discretion, just enjoy yourself. So anyone you put there. Now human catch and eat cod. Describe strategies to ensure the sustainable supply. So we're looking at sustainability of marine species now. Supply of cod as a food source for human. So the first thing is, how do you reduce the rate at which human catch a marine species? First, net size. So there should be reduction in net size. Or sorry, I say reduction. Restriction of net size. Net size. You can also have introduce fishing quotas, so you do not fish during breeding season. So there should be area that is called the no fishing zones, so you allow them to grow and develop there. You can also have there should also be restriction of mesh size. You can also have closed seasons. Another thing is encourage fish farming or mariculture. Encourage fish farming because cod is a fish. So just need 4 of that to get your full mark. That's how to make it sustainable. Now Bulgaria is a country in Europe. The graph shows the population of Bulgaria between 1890 and 2015. The graph is incomplete, so the first question is for us to complete it. Complete the graph using the information in the table. So first we have within 1890 it was 3.15. So 1890, this is 3. If that is 4, so 3.15. So each will represent 2. So 3, 2, 4, 6, 8. What am I saying, sir? Okay, so this will be 3.2, 3.4, 3.6, 3.8 before 4. So if we're looking at 3.15, will be somewhere at the middle here. 1985 is 3.30. Sorry, 1895. So 1895 is this. 1895. My hope is 3.3. So if this is true, 3.3 will be somewhere here. Then 3.7 in 1990. I have 1900. We have 3.7. So if this is 3, 3.2, 3.4, 3.6, 3.7, and you join everything together. That's all. You've gotten your 2 mark. Describe the trend in the population of Bulgaria between those 2 years. First, if you look at the trend from the graph, find out that the population increases from here to the peak here. So first, population increases from 1890, from 1890 to, which year is this? 1890 to 1900. This peak here is around 1890 to 1900. 1890 to 1990. Then the population now decreases from 1990 to 2015. So that's all. So because from 1990 here, from 1990 to 2015, there was a decrease in population. So that's all. Get your 2 mark. Now, population pyramids. Bulgaria is a more economically developed country, so it's an MEDC. Now, which population pyramid, ABC, shows best represents that of Bulgaria? Simple is A, because at this point they have a low, they have low birth rate, high life expectancy. Which question? 6-page question, 6-mark question. Okay, level response. Improve health and education are the best ways to manage the population size of a country. I said improve health and education are the best ways to manage the population size of a country. Now, you see, how far do you agree with this statement? Use examples to support your answer. So, when you look at this, to answer this type of question is a two-way thing, and you must state both views. You agree and you do not you disagree. You must state both views. You must explain why you feel you agree that improved health and education is the best, and if you disagree, you must state why you said, okay, this is not the best. So it's more like argumentative, and you are arguing from both sides. So for you to get these 6 marks, you have to do that, which is quite straightforward. So I can decide to say improve health and education actually are ways to manage the population size of a country, which is true. So improve health and education are ways to manage the population size of a country. I mean, because I'm going to write a lot. Population size of a country. Now, if that is it, then I will now come up to give how I feel improved health and education can achieve this. So I can say improve health will reduce child mortality. So it will help to increase population. So more kids will survive. Now, another thing is improve health will also increase life expectancy. We reduce child mortality, increase life expectancy. And education, increase life expectancy. Then, so you find out that education can now, I've talked about health. So education will increase marital age. So it helps to reduce early marriage. And another thing, it makes or help people to be aware of family planning. Of family planning. To be aware of family planning. That's another importance of education. Now, education also help to improve. It helps to improve standard of living. Standard of living. How? Because people will now get a better paid job, better paid jobs, so they can actually access health services. So can access health services. That's it. And so I have been able to explain on health and education. Now you can now come and put however, comma, government can also increase the age for marriage. Government policies can control population by increasing the age for marriage. Also giving incentives to help increase population, to help increase birth rate. You can also have something like where you have antinatalist and pronatalist policies of population control. Then you can also bring things like they can make availability of contraception. Sorry. Contraception availability. Contraception availability, like such as condoms, You can also have preference for male child, due to cultural beliefs, can increase population. You can also bring things like the immigration policy. Can also increase the country population. So if you do this, you should be able to get the full mark. So thank you for your time. We've been able to have a walkthrough through this paper. I believe it should be helpful. If it is, I please implore you to subscribe to this channel for more revision past paper videos.